Storms across the state will have the possibility to produce high winds, hail, and tornadoes throughout the evening. Meteorologists Todd Jacobian and Barry Brandt are tracking this system, and they have the latest.
That's right, Aaron. We have been worrying about the storm system now for several days, and it is here.
As this moves, this little hook right here, you see the hook as it hooks around? And obviously it's got some debris within it as well. It's moving right toward Roland. You've got the hail core to the north of it, but always the last thing in this little corner of the storm is where the tornado would be, and it is moving that way, and it is confirmed that it at least has been on the ground, and we're going to assume that it is on the ground now.
That's the wall cloud right there. This is live video from our storm chaser, Brian Imfinger, and this is I-40. There's the lowering right there, and I do not see anything coming out of that lowering right now. It's tough to tell because there's trees here, so there still could be something on the ground.
Let me tell you, if we can go to VRAD though,
that could be the tornado.
There's a debris signature right there over Mayflower.
Right in there, that could be the tornado right there.
It could be a large one.
It could be a very large tornado.
I'm getting extreme rotation on that storm on our 5 live Doppler radars near Mayflower right now.
Hey, Aaron, here I'm along Highway 365 here, just about a couple miles from Mayflower. Now down the road here about a couple of miles, there's been a reported gas leak. They've actually shut down traffic and they are rerouting.
And take a look at this. This is just to show you, this is unreal. I-40 on the left, this is Mayflower, and you see just the large path. You see people running through that damage.
And it's just been another awful night in central Arkansas. It's hard to believe that we're in Vilonia again, very reminiscent of when it happened before, but we're right here in the heart of town.
Our Matt Mershon is in Vilonia as well. Matt, you spoke with the National Guard, which has a pretty big presence there, right?
Yeah, you know, Beth, I've been told roughly 60 troops have been deployed to here in Vilonia as well as in Mayflower. But, you know, there are dozens of National Guardsmen that have come out to both Vilonia and Mayflower on their own volition because they felt compelled to. Unfortunately, this is a very tragic day for them. One of the casualties here in Vilonia was an Air National Guardsman. They are not releasing his name at this time. Clearly, that's not making it any easier for the troops to do their job here, but it's keeping them very difficult to keep them from being busy doing their work, doing rescue and directing traffic out here. Right now, they're still only letting residents and emergency personnel into town.
Channel 7's Alicia Dover is live on Canis Road, where there were 3 deaths nearby. And Alicia, the governor was there today.
That's right, Scott. Governor Beebe visited the destruction here today because he says he doesn't want this county, which saw so much destruction, to feel forgotten.
All over western Pulaski County today, the long process of cleaning up begins. Near Roland, Edie Burrell says her home looks like it's standing, but it's unlivable. A sad fact, but she's thankful her family is safe, including her son, who was working in this workshop shortly before the storm, but left because of a stomach ache.
I think God gave him that stomach ache to get him out of here so that he wouldn't be in that shop.
And just across the yard in all of the fallen trees, something she says should give all of the tornado survivors a little bit of hope.
Everything around it is gone, except the cross is still standing.
One other thing, there's an American flag that's landed
here.
There
is a flag that blew in, and I think actually when it blew in, it kind of snagged the cross, and it's blown off now again. So it's not ours, it came from somewhere else.
Governor Beebe visited sites like this neighborhood on Somerset Drive today to lend support.
Well, we're out here today because we don't want to leave Pulaski County out. I mean, it's these people suffered. We had deaths here.
Governor Beebe was also able to visit with several members of the Tittle family, which, as we told you, suffered so much, losing their father and 2 siblings. Back to you.
Yeah, I know we know their hearts are breaking tonight. Alicia, thank you very much.
Hi, everyone. Joining you from Remount Road and the National Weather Service office here for Central Arkansas. It was a busy place on Sunday night. It'll again be a busy place tonight at 6 o'clock as a press conference is being called to give a final Fujita scale rating to the tornado that went through the other day. We're going to have details on that coming up at 6 o'clock tonight as the announcement is made.
All right, Barry, thanks very much. Well, restoration work continues, as you might imagine, in Faulkner County today, where hundreds of homes either destroyed or damaged and lives forever altered. We're going live now to Justin Lewis, who is there in Vilonia to give us a bit of a comparison of the progress. Justin.
Well, Scott, as you can tell behind me, there's still a lot of work to be done. It's going to take a lot of work to restore this town to what it was before Sunday night. But in being here yesterday and now today, I will say a lot of progress is being made. Now, just along Main Street, they have a lot of power poles and lines back up that were obviously knocked down when that tornado came through here in Vilonia. As far as home damage goes, we've seen a lot of this debris being piled up and burned off throughout the day. You know, this is debris and wreckage that essentially were these people's homes at one time. And although we're 3 days removed from that tornado that came through here, I think it's still settling into a lot of neighbors who survived, even some of those that went into basements or storm shelters to get away from this weather. It's still pretty traumatic to what they experienced Sunday night.
Oh yeah, it come down that stairwell, of course, after we cut the building down, that stairwell there, come down that, and then it blew the back door to the steel door on the back open. So we were all in there and debris was flying all around, and we were trying to hold on to the grandkids, keep them getting sucked out because there was some suction in it.
Now behind me is Cemetery Road. There was a couple that died Sunday night on this road. I'm going to tell you a little more about them coming up new at 6. But we also had a 22-year-old who died in another area of Vilonia. And today, Maureen Glisovic, who's joining us now, talked to his family. And Maureen, I know it's very just traumatic for the entire town when some of the residents have obviously died from these storms.
Absolutely. It's just another heartbreaking story here. You know, I was there earlier speaking with their sisters, and if you take a look at some of the footage we shot earlier, you could see what's left of what used to be their home there on Clover Ridge Drive. Now they have, been picking up the pieces, but just nothing left but a bathroom, a closet, and a few walls that are still standing. It's just been heartbreaking, really tough for the entire family, especially his sisters, Anna and Amanda, who are left there picking up the pieces while their parents are still in the hospital. Jeffrey was a computer science major at UCA and worked at the local store, Fred's store here in Vilonia. His sisters say he was incredibly smart. He would retain facts and information that most of us never would. Neither of them were in town when the tornado hit, but at least one of his sisters was able to talk to him before it hit.
That night, he told me that the storm was coming and that he loved me. And then it hit. The last thing that you ever say to your family before that happens, it's really intense. And I know my brother loved me.
I keep hearing his voice just randomly say random things to me in my head, just like she said, the random facts he would just spout at you, and I hear it, and especially when I find things of his and pictures.
Many pet owners consider their animals more like family. Several household pets were killed in the storms, and some that survived are still separated from their owners. Janelle Lilly joins us now live with more on this story. Janelle.
Beth, a lot of folks here in Vilonia lost everything, including the hope of finding their lost pet. But thanks to some volunteer organizations, the Vilonia Animal Clinic, those pets are being found, they're being treated and reunited with their owners.
Home after home flattened, a life's work destroyed. Some of those fortunate enough to make it through the storm lost four-legged family members in the chaos, many sharing photos on Facebook and at the local clinic. Volunteers found Avery Monday with a gash in his chest and a broken leg, but alive.
He popped his head out amidst a rubble, in their neighborhood, but not anywhere near their house, and found Avery and brought Avery in.
Avery's family had dropped off a photo earlier that day, but had little hope that he'd survived.
They lost everything. They found their other two dogs. They were alive, and this is all she has. And he's doing really good, as you can tell.
When the clinic called, Avery's owners rushed in and sat in the lobby through several hours of surgery. The last 4 days have been filled with owners checking in, desperate to find their pet, and volunteers finding pets like these, still not identified.
So we don't know his name. We just know the road that we found him on. So far, that's what we've been calling him. He's the Schultz Road dog.
But Melanie's hopeful of a reunion for each one, like these two dogs had today.
Almost 95% of the people that have come with an animal or found their animal have lost everything. Their house is gone, their cars may be gone, it's gone, and so this is all that's left.
Yeah, and when you look at this damage, you think it's nearly impossible that anything could have survived that. But day after day, they're finding pets in the rubble. Now, a lot of those pets are injured, and the Humane Society of Faulkner County is taking donations to help with the medical bills to be treating those pets. Back to you guys.
The slowdown starts miles before you reach the point where an EF4 twister crossed Interstate 40. Tens of thousands of travelers are getting a close-up look at something many have never seen close up before. But getting a good look takes time, and that time is coming out of the days of daily commuters.
The only way the rubbernecking is ever going to get better is if both sides of the interstate get cleaned up. Is that on the list?
That is on the list. In fact, I've got a call in to Scott Bennett of trying to help us get that done.
Mayor Holland says Saturday morning thousands of volunteers will visit Faulkner County and work under the direction of the national relief organization Team Rubicon. The hope is that the awe-inspiring views left along Interstate 40 will be less impressive come Monday morning.
I think Monday morning, that's a big, huge thing. We've got school going back, and I know it's not going to be totally normal, but I think that we've got to get our citizens and our kids back to a semi-normal situation, and I think we're getting there.
Now, one thing you can't see anymore is the major power line that used to cross Interstate 40 here and serve the residents of Mayflower on the other side of the interstate. That is really a priority to get restored, and that could slow down the cleanup along the interstate. Reporting from Mayflower, Jason Peterson, who'll send it back to you.
Yeah, problem only time can fix. Jason, thanks.
Well, Beth and Scott, FEMA has already received 750 applications between here in Vilonia and Mayflower, and $1.2 million worth of checks has already been cut to tornado victims. But something that victims need to keep in mind is registration deadlines. Residents have the next 60 days to either call FEMA or log on to their website and apply. To be eligible, you must be a U.S. resident and provide information like a social security number. Now, the process is quite simple. Once you apply, a day or two later, a FEMA inspector will come out to your property, assess the damage, and you can expect a check in just a few days later. Business owners also need to apply. Many will also qualify for lower interest loans to help them get back to business.
Well, a Vilonia man spent $30,000 tornado-proofing his home after the last tornado in 2011 damaged it. But he says this time the investment was worth it. Channel 7's Alicia Dover is live in Vilonia tonight to explain how he's improved his house. Alicia.
Well, Beth, Kenny Harvey's home wasn't in the direct line of the tornadoes this time, but after the 2011 tornado, he wanted to make sure in the future his home didn't end up a flattened mess. This is what Kenny Harvey's home looked like after the Vilonia tornado in 2011. They rode out the storm in this closet. So many repairs, and the one thing after the storm he knew for sure.
And then after the storm, we realized no matter if an F1 hits you direct or an F5, you need to be underground.
He invested in this underground shelter, which can hold up to 25 people. His neighbors ready and waiting to go down inside this time. And it's not just being prepared on the day of.
Wednesday, we were here in early forecast. Thursday, 4 of us neighbors met that all had damage last time. Checked our chainsaws, butane, batteries, generators. And then Saturday, we met again. And also, we took down stuff around the pool, anything outside that could blow away.
And his home is not just a concrete slab. This beam may look decorative, but they're securing the house all over, 2 feet into the ground. The roof, designed to withstand winds, can rip off seamlessly if winds are too high. Things he thought of this time he didn't want to do without. Every detail specifically thought out, even solar-powered torches to take with them down into the cellar. And a power generator, which kept these security cameras rolling all the way through last week's tornado, even after the home had lost power. And Harvey says even though he spent $30,000 on improvements, you don't have to spend a lot of money to make sure you're really prepared for a natural disaster. Beth?
All right, Alicia Dover reporting live in Vilonia tonight. And as you've heard, the president will be in Arkansas tomorrow to tour the tornado damage. We will have live and extensive team coverage of the president's visit beginning on daybreak tomorrow.